Everybody say hi.
Hi!
So, what we, I completely lost my train of thought. Okay, last week we were at Solomon, right? And we looked at, week before we looked at Baals for a couple of weeks. Last week, or the week before, we talked about the Baals. We talked about Solomon in there and how it led Solomon astray. You guys did great on that. We're going to touch on a little bit tonight, but not near as deep. Now that you've got it, we don't have to go back through it again. All right? In here. So what I wanted you to do is take out your books. You're going to need your books tonight. I want you to look in the beginning of the book. You know, in the preface, where it says at the very beginning, where the page number is XIII. All right. Everybody with me? So I'm going to talk a little bit, to get you set up, because I got work for you guys to do later on.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk the first part, you guys are going to talk about the second part.
Okay.
So, look at the top of that page. Here's your kind of review in here. We were down here last week. That chapter 13 is the one we did last week, right? Okay. We talked about David dies and Solomon and the Baals and all that 4 lives. That's good. Okay. Notice it says on the side there, that's a timeline. That occurred about 950 years BC, about 950 years before the birth of Jesus. And there's a couple of chapters in here that going in we're going to review, but I want to just show you these. The first one was A Kingdom Torn in Two. It's the after effects of Solomon's reign. 15 talks about the prophets as they were speaking to Israel and speaking to the people. 16 is called the beginning of the end, because what happened there, and you're going to see this in the review, is that the northern kingdom, there was a civil war basically, and the country divided. The northern part went with a guy named Rehoboam, and the southern part went with a guy by the name of Jeroboam, maybe the other way. And there was a division in here, and the northern kingdom went in. It's going to tell you this. The northern kingdom was a kingdom that kept worshiping the false gods. It says they worshiped the Baals. Now you know what that means, okay? They were worshiping the Baals. And as they were going in and doing that, it says there were consequences to that action. And then there's 17 is what we're going to look at today in here, because not only were the northern kingdom, to a lesser extent the southern kingdom was doing it as well, worshiping the Baals. And that occurred, the date that we're talking about here that ends is 586 BC. So we're basically looking from about 950, 900 to 586. We're looking at about 450 years, 350 years of time frame in here going in. All right, you with me? All right, what I'm going to do is these intervening chapters, I'm just going to show you, the long clip here. I'm just going to show you the long clip of those intervening chapters, just bang, bang, bang. All right? So just hang with me. I'm going to cue them up over here on the machine. This is to get you caught up, because we're jumping.
At the end of King Solomon's reign over Israel, God told a man named Jeroboam that he would become king over all but one of the tribes of Israel. But Solomon wasn't ready to give up the throne, so he tried to kill Jeroboam, who escaped and fled to Egypt. A short while later, Solomon died, and his son Rehoboam was named king. The people were unhappy with the heavy taxes placed on them and went to complain, along with their spokesperson, Jeroboam. Despite their complaints, the king refused to listen. Furious, most of Israel made Jeroboam their leader and lived in the northern territory called Israel, where Rehoboam ruled over the southern tribe called Judah. After being a united country for many years, Israel was now split in two. The new king of the northern territory, Jeroboam, was worried that when his people returned to the south in order to worship in the temple in Jerusalem, they might be persuaded to become loyal to Rehoboam instead of him. So he devised a plan. He constructed 2 golden calves and told his people that they were the gods that helped them escape from Egypt many years earlier. Then he had a huge festival to worship these gods, and unbelievably, the Israelites went along with it. Then one day, Jeroboam was at one of the altars making a sacrifice, when a man who followed God approached Jeroboam and warned him that his kingdom would soon be ruined. Jeroboam stretched out his arm and shouted, "Seize him!" As he did, his hand shriveled up. Terrified, Jeroboam pleaded with the man to pray for him. So the man prayed for Jeroboam's hand, and it was healed. Even after this display of God's power, Jeroboam still led the people to worship other gods. For years, Jeroboam and Rehoboam were at war. When Rehoboam died, his son and then grandson took over as kings of Judah. His son worshipped other gods just like his father. But Rehoboam's grandson, Asa, was different. Asa got rid of the idols and was fully committed to following God. The northern kingdom of Israel continued to be led by a series of wicked men, none of whom followed God. One of these kings was Ahab, who did more evil in the eyes of God than any king before him. Perhaps worst of all, Ahab married Jezebel, a woman from a foreign country who convinced him and almost all of Israel to worship a foreign god named Baal. Because of this, God would need to send a messenger to set things straight.
So when you hear that phrase in here, it says they did evil in the eyes of the Lord. What's that mean?
Sin.
How?
Not by worshiping other gods.
Which means?
Worshiping Baal.
Thank you. All right. Yep.
During the time that Israel was divided, God told a prophet named Elijah that there would be a drought in the land. He directed Elijah to leave the area and live by himself for 3 years near a ravine where he would have all the water he needed. One day, God told Elijah to go and confront King Ahab and his wife Jezebel about leading the Israelites to worship a false god named Baal. Elijah asked Ahab and all the people of Israel to meet him on the top of a mountain. Ahab brought 450 prophets of Baal with him. Elijah decided to conduct a challenge to prove that he followed the true God. 2 bulls were brought to be sacrificed. The prophets of Baal laid down pieces of wood and put the bull on it, but did not set fire to it. "Call on the name of your God," Elijah challenged, "and I will call on mine. Whichever answers by fire, he is God." From early morning until noon, the prophets asked their god Baal to send fire, but nothing happened. Elijah taunted them, "Shout louder! Perhaps your God is in deep thought or sleeping." So they shouted louder and cut themselves with their swords and spears, but still nothing happened. He quickly built an altar using 12 stones, one to represent each tribe of Israel. Finally, he asked those around him to pour water all over the bowl and the wood. There was so much water flowing that it filled the trench around the altar. Then Elijah called out, Let it be known today that you are God in Israel. And fire fell from the sky and burned up the bull, the wood, and even the stones and soil. When the people saw this, they fell to their faces and yelled, "The Lord, He is God!" The prophets of Baal were then arrested and killed in the valley below the mountain. When King Ahab returned home and told his wife Jezebel what happened, she was furious and sent word to Elijah that she was going to have him killed. So Elijah fled to the wilderness. There he met an angel sent by God to take care of him, who gave him food and water. Eventually, God told Elijah that Elisha would take his place as a prophet in Israel. Not long after, Elijah and Elisha were walking along the road, and a chariot and horses made of fire appeared out of nowhere and took Elijah up into the sky. So Elisha continued to do God's work, performing miracles, and at one point even raising a young boy from the dead. Elijah stretched out his body over the boy and caused him to sneeze 7 times, bringing him back to life. For many years after, God continued to use Elisha and a number of other prophets to perform miracles and warn the Israelites of all that would happen to them if they did not follow God. Despite the prophets' warnings, the next several kings led Israel further and further from God. It was only a matter of time before things had to change. In the northern kingdom, Israel, the people continued to turn their backs on God. So God allowed them to be taken prisoner by the nearby country of Assyria. Meanwhile, in the southern kingdom, Judah, there was a new king named Hezekiah, who was only 25 years old. Hezekiah followed God's ways, removing the idols to false gods. God helped him be successful in all he did. The king of Assyria, who had recently taken over Israel, sent one of his commanders to threaten Hezekiah, telling him that God would not protect Judah from Assyria's attack. So Hezekiah went to a prophet named Isaiah for help. Isaiah was a man who God had spoken through many times. Isaiah assured Hezekiah that God would help them defeat the Assyrians.
Listen to this one coming up here.
Late that night, the angel of the Lord went through the Assyrian camp and killed 185,000 people. The next morning, the remaining Assyrians retreated, terrified. Soon after, Isaiah reminded the Israelites that they were to follow God in all they did. But the people turned away from God again and again, and things continued to get worse for them as a nation. Despite their disobedience, God delivered a promise through Isaiah that a new king and a new kingdom was coming for the Israelites. Isaiah spoke of a man who would one day be rejected by those around him and suffer a terrible death. But somehow, through his death, this man would bring peace and a kingdom that would never end.
What are they talking about? All right, that catches you up. I point it out because that's what you're going to hit next week. Now you're caught up. This is this week's.
King Hezekiah's son, Manasseh, was only 12 years old when he became king. He was very different from his father, doing all sorts of evil things. He led the people to worship false gods. Things got so bad that God brought the Assyrian army against Manasseh. They put a hook in his nose and led him away to the city of Babylon as a prisoner. In his suffering, Manasseh humbled himself and prayed to God. God allowed Manasseh to be set free and return home. For a few years, things began to improve, and the Israelites began to follow God again. They even discovered the book containing all of the laws of Moses, which had been lost for many years. The people learned once again what it was like to live in God's ways. But soon, things got much, much worse. The kings who ruled over Judah once again led the people away from God. Then one day, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, attacked the Israelites, nearly destroying the temple Solomon had built. He captured almost all of the Israelites, including the best warriors, workers, and artists, and sent them to Babylon. Only a few of the poorest Israelites were allowed to stay to take care of the fields. God sent 2 prophets, Jeremiah to those left in Jerusalem, and Ezekiel to those living in Babylon. Unfortunately, the news was bad. Because they had done so much evil, God allowed the city of Jerusalem, their home, to be almost completely destroyed, and the rest of the Israelites sent to Babylon. But the prophet Ezekiel told the Israelites living in Babylon that God would not forget about them, that God would one day rescue and restore them. God even gave Ezekiel a vision that he was standing in a valley full of bones. There was a rattling sound, and the bones began to come together, and tendons and flesh appeared on them, and they came to life. God told Ezekiel the meaning of the vision. These bones are the whole house of Israel. I am going to open your graves and bring you up from them. I will bring you back to the land of Israel. Then you will know that I am God.
All right. Get in your groups. I had the sheets out in here. These sheets, get in your groups if you would, and take a couple of minutes to do that see the story part, and then share with each other.
I sprinkled it up. Hold up. Sorry. You know how over the summer she had that like infection and then had to get that emergency? Well, on like Wednesday night she started having a high fever, and it was the same thing, but it was in her stomach. So we removed her to make sure she ended up having appendicitis.
If today were last on earth, what would you do?
What? Oh, the thing before.
Order the year.
Oh.
Order the fifth of the Suzanne on the next minute.
No. Don't be like McDonald's, like that nasty filet something. I don't go to restaurants that often, so. We were at like 5:30, so it was like but it took forever. Oh yeah, it's so.
All right, you got your pictures done? Ladies up here having too much fun now.
I got mine done.
Oh my gosh!
It's the best place ever.
Have you ever had better pancakes?
I hear the vision of
All right.
exchange for something.
You ladies back here have yours done? All right. Yeah, okay.
Again? Okay.
Stanley, get you guys together and share those pictures. What you wrote and why.
Trying to do what he did, how the science thing got.
Sorry, didn't hear.
I kind of did what he did, and hold the sign.
Okay. I did, I tried to get all mixed up.
Really bad
Plus
fever.
bad kings and people led to a downfall. And the prophets prophesied that bones will rise again.
I drew
People.
like God saying no,
I look at
and
that
then
kind
pointing
of
at
as
people, but
Jesus will rise.
they got
but
terrified
will
for a
rise.
minute, and then they
Well,
kept going. So then,
Cool.
You get a much better topic, you don't get the death construction topic.
Are you okay?
I'm
Chapter
trying to go back.
31 next week.
We're jumping to 23, you get to 23 next week. Birth of Jesus.
Cool.
Wait, do you have that?
Okay, we should do that more often, or you want to.
Did you? All right. Maybe I'll have Dr. Gill once we watch 18 through 22 to catch the story of it. All right. You just lost them all in one day.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep in.
Okay, this is what I want you to do. Everybody got share? Everybody? All right. In this story, there are three main sections in this story that take place. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have each one of the groups called, you know what a storyboard is?
Yeah.
All right? I'm going to have you storyboard a section. All right? I'm going to give you the section in here. You can use your books. Make life much easier on yourselves and use this. All right? Read it through, work up the picture. I'm going to give you several minutes here on what I want you to do is storyboard that section. And when everybody's done, we're going to have you put that up and let you tell the story of that piece with your picture. Got it? All right. First group. Let me get my note. Ladies right here, up front. Okay? You may want to mark this in your books. All right? Your section is from the top of chapter 17. Get open page 231. You guys need to have your books open to page 231 when I get to you. All right? All right. You all are going to do from the top of 231 through 233. All right? Okay, to 233, you see where it switches right here to the italics? You're going to stop right there. Okay, you got it? That's your section. There's your shape. I got 4 markers. I'd like to share the markers. All right. Guys, all right? You all have on page 233, from where it says Jehoiakim was 25 years old,
Okay.
you're going to go from there over to the top of 235, right under the italics. Got it? Yeah. Yeah. 235, right under the italics. That's your section, right? Just that section you got. Don't. All right. In here. So where? You got it? Dr. Gill's got it. All right. Ladies back here. All right. Listen up. I need you guys on page 241.
Ours is from
Back page.
Page 241, where it says, the middle paragraph right there where it says Zedekiah was 21 years old. That's where you start.
I'm gonna give it now.
So if you want to mark it in your books, it's your books, mark it in there, all right? That's where you start,
I presume we.
and you're going to finish at the bottom of 243. All right?
Okay.
Yes, right there.
I think
Sarah.
it's about the
Okay?
king.
Just that section. That's one segment of the story. Okay? You got it? Work through it. come up with a picture that tells the story of that section, because you're going to tell, you guys are going to teach that section over there. Got it? Okay? All right? All right.
Our section shows the video of how he did evil in the
He
eyes.
started doing evil in the eye of the Lord, and he like told God to stop. He kept doing evil.
He was,
During his reign, Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon visited him, and became his vassal for 3 years. But then he turned against Nebuchadnezzar and rebelled.
I think we should start with the.
Ammon, later against him, destroyed 3 tell the story of the word of the Lord proclaiming by a certain prophet. Jehoiakim rested with his ancestors and Jotham, his
probably do it
son,
in like each
succeeded him as
section
king.
or each time.
Joachim was 18 years old.
Can we like make a little
He
one?
reigned in Jerusalem for 3 months. His mother's name was Nashon. She was from Jerusalem. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father had done. At the time of the answer, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon,
How did you do evil
under
to
and
God?
laid siege to it, Nebuchadnezzar himself. He
So
launched
do you want to draw pictures?
Yeah.
siege.
We have a big family.
Pastor Mark, are we supposed to be drawing pictures?
And then we're gonna copy on the picture?
Yes.
Okay.
However you guys want to storyboard
So,
it,
yeah,
use
so
this
we
sheet of
start with,
paper at the end, right? However you guys want to storyboard it and picture it, whatever you guys want to pick up,
his son, and then
all right?
How many sections?
another
What
son.
do you, since it's in the eye of God, when you want to draw like an eye and then maybe like fire or something?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
how many sections? And then
I
put
call that
horns
one.
on it.
Which is
Oh, yeah, I call that.
sticky here. So let's start here.
I'm
Write this guy's name,
Like, I'm really
J-E-H.
good. Here's
It's
my-
E. You just draw the oval and then you draw another oval in the middle of that.
Well, I do it live stream than that.
Yeah, K-I-N.
Rock, paper, scissors. That's
Okay.
So do another part.
I'm gonna draw.
kind of like drawing a dog
Make a
symbol.
picture of a king.
Except an eyeball.
Justin, you
Just
want to
drag.
do horns on it?
You go.
Stick to it.
You call them on fire, that's a dog's eye.
Okay. And then,
Yeah.
there you make a
It
print.
makes me like God seeing like bad things happening. Okay, so
Well, it could be
how many
reflecting.
sections
So if you flip it and make it darker, it could be just like it's reflecting.
Make what darker? Like that.
No, make little circles for the pupils and stuff. And then just make it dark and it looks like it's reflecting.
Yeah. When Nebuchadnezzar came, any-
It's just a practice paper. Not
I don't
really
know. What is it? Look.
Another king.
Like we
Would
have.
be another king here, Neb.
I think some people will make it more confusing.
It's called maybe. Oh, it does look like it's reflecting, but your people look bigger and
Yeah. I had a look in the Ty's eyes.
Did you keep a straight face when you're doing that? I'd be like,
I don't know. He went like.
He's got a son, and he's got another son. Name or attack. Okay?
Another one it says. This one it says.
I was even looking
God
These are,
says I'm
okay.
going to bring
Okay,
good.
What door is it?
I wouldn't want to go like to school like that.
Oh, it says, I'm going to bring such stature on Jerusalem and Judah, that the ears of every Jerusalem. I will stretch out over Jerusalem. It will make sound waves. Because the ears
Somebody-
vibrates.
Tell me just.
Then about the ear of our they make sound.
The guts of what happened.
Wait,
I don't remember.
Yeah,
It
your
was
part.
on like a diagram of the ears.
Okay,
And
what
then it
happened?
was like, this was that, Mr. Brown.
I'm just gonna draw as like this.
He was math and science.
Okay.
No, science.
Okay, all right, so what other?
Where? You have a big hat.
here.
We had no country.
What happened before that?
So we just like they were
Right.
playing. They were like, where'd you go?
What else is the story about?
The cross.
Who's good at putting marks on my head?
So should I just make two steps?
Hold on.
I don't know, we're not, we like, not that
So it took all the gold.
The gods. Oh, we could draw like little temples of other gods. I don't know if that's. Oh, we can read that. You just need to be able to.
Okay, got it, all right.
Yeah, so but there was something about a cow. And it's not this part of the
What's that, Sarah?
You have to start with the sticky part.
Are you guys coming?
What should I draw? Okay, I would start out by saying, make that sticker kind of here.
draw the way.
Flow from
And then we got the sexual and the beginning that he ordered them to worship other gods. You know, not going to stop. It's the evil. I put evil in there. The fire. Oh, I guess that would be smart and clever. Just put
I just said he was doing.
Okay,
So you want to underneath everything is divided like the doors and the eyes.
it says that.
I like that with that.
And
So it's kind of like worshiping Dale.
I don't know.
Manasseh.
But how should I draw the word? Or you
Okay,
can draw.
you guys are on.
No, we're not military.
All right, you guys are planning, they were planning that together.
Yeah, perfect. And then. Could I draw a face with a hook come out the arm and put that part in
In a vision.
I was thinking, like you said, you wipe out the plate, then you took it off plate, and then it looks like, no, like in the middle of the plate, it looks like the city of Jerusalem.
So, just try.
Come in and actually, he's gonna attack.
The plate,
Do the ear and bow and arrow.
so we have to do 6, because we still got it. Okay, hold up.
So who's gonna talk this?
Not while you like it.
I was just trying to show him doing a sword. Basically, we're trying to say.
How do I draw?
I know there's a guy with old falling out. It's basically that, except you take
Put
it
something in his hand, put something in his hand, put the sword.
G-O, Nebby.
Debbie texted me, and then they have to, I don't know, Theo has a son, that's
Okay,
why.
so there's your sword.
And this is
King,
And he's got
Yeah, he's right.
No, he's alive, he's alive.
yeah, so Nebby's pretty old, so like it's trying over here.
And he keeps fighting.
So yes, Nebby takes that generation, then he takes that generation
Then he takes gold from the church, and he takes like the entire.
from Solomon's temple, right?
Yeah.
So he takes it from
Okay, this is
Solomon's
the last
temple,
paragraph.
so there was gold from it.
All of it. And then, he assassinated him.
No, wait, we gotta say Jerusalem
People
credits.
killed all.
Yeah,
And then he had this king on it. And he tells everyone that God knows his son, king is
If you don't want diagrams, somebody may want to. A picture, you guys are going, all the others are figuring out what the, how the rest of it, the rest of it's gonna be.
Let's go post this on.
Hang on to it. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, no one can say that.
Yes. Wait, hold up.
Hang on to your table.
You eat it.
Right?
Awesome.
Hanging out.
And then just.
Number 5.
The ladies are still working, so don't.
So, Dad.
In other words, the
Dad
consequences
was
of
swallowed.
famine.
Wait,
And
can
then,
I just
what we
go
This has to be, this has to be.
We should call him Jacob.
Yeah, but can I draw like a crown?
Right there.
Maybe this one is Ben Short.
And then I'm gonna try it all. And then you guys can do the last part. That says father. And then this is gonna say.
Okay, so
Kings. Like that. So son and risen up.
It's beginning to feel better right now. Tired.
Which
portion are you
So say all these guys.
they asked,
Jeremiah. I'm sorry.
to say, hey, ask God to forgive us and have mercy on us and to help, and he said no.
Guys, you done with markers?
And he said, I'm not going to show you mercy.
Wait,
He said,
no,
"But
you're drawing the ears
your
out.
legs."
Wait, can I draw the? We don't have our thing. We need 5 squares. We do? Yeah. Split this one in half.
3 years. But then he turned against him.
We could put how it's.
Okay, Steve, done.
Is he a king?
Against him, and destroyed Judah according to the word.
The ground.
I think he was, and I think ultimately what he said, he was taken to the king, whose sentence was pronounced on him, to kill the sons of
Joachim was
Zedekiah.
18 years old when he
Yeah, right in
became
front
king,
of, right in front of his dad, right? They
3
basically killed
months.
the
His
son in
mother's
front of
name
him.
Someone start drawing the ears.
And,
Or no,
As the Lord,
set
just
fire
as
to
his
the
father.
temple of the Lord, so if you
At
need
this
to
time,
fire,
the official
so
officers and
What
Nebuchadnezzar
should I
of
do?
Babylon advanced on the siege to it. Nebuchadnezzar himself.
Can I do a like, don't I?
His officers were besieging
Yeah, people.
Should we set fire to?
In his 8 years of reign in Babylon, he took Joachim appeared and the Lord declared.
We start at the end of this. What should I write? It's like rap.
Well, looks across the sky.
That was
I
my
just
fault.
colored my hair.
And then he took all the officers and skilled workers and artisans. Only poorest people were left. Okay? Nebuchadnezzar took.
There's a piece of fuzz in my hair. I can see it. It's bothering me. That took forever to brush out.
Not to give up.
I had to stand there brushing it for like an hour before I could get into the shower. I've never not so happy before. She was like, what did you do to your hair? I was like,
Of the end.
you did like,
Say that he was,
Ezekiel received his
My mom's at work.
orders and his prophetic message.
and then I think that night,
Leads to
No, she's
yeah, so unbelief.
work.
So
She didn't go to the hospital, so it's Saturday.
yeah.
unbelief. No faith leads to faith.
Still need the ear thingy. You got it. He gets a dent in his ear. It's okay, maybe you have a ears. Or do I?
This is messed up.
We'll see. Okay.
Guys are done.
Wait, we're going.
Ladies in the back, how you guys doing?
We're done.
Done? All right. Ladies in the front, how you guys
There's
doing?
nothing wrong with
Almost
that.
done. All right.
It looks fine.
Right? You all, you.
Look at my car.
This?
Look at my
All right.
sword glue extra.
You know what you're gonna say?
I feel like space up. Like an infection in there. And then it ended up being
All right, who's gonna tell the story? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to do all the squares. You can tell a story.
Alright.
I can like be like,
Where's that?
Yeah, one person. Let's choose one person.
What I used to do whenever I was little, I found something I'd grab like pictures.
You two?
well, three.
I burst someone's.
I mean, like, I can point.
Two.
Can be banned.
Alright,
Reading when I was little, like you put me.
Alright.
I thought we were going for a fist bump, but then I was like, yeah.
We've got a drum roll on the.
What, where?
I'm hungry all afternoon. She's eating from. Thanks.
Oh, well.
Hey, where'd you get your sweatshirt, Emma?
I don't know, I got it for my birthday.
What's that?
Maggie wants one just like that.
What we're gonna be on time, and that's stuck in the
Yeah, you did well.
Yeah. McDonald's is obviously like that.
Okay, you ladies, if you're done?
Yes.
Alright, everybody have a seat. I need my markers back. Right, you brothers got my markers.
Here?
Could I use it as a
What?
I use it as a
You want
All
Alright.
Gamer.
Like I said, I'll let you guys talk for a while in here. Ready to tell a story, okay? It's always a cool story, kind of downer story, but there's some good stuff at the end. Alright, first table, you got the first section, who's talking about it? Let's put them over here on this wall. You can start, let's start right here, work that way. Alright? Alright? Hopefully it's got enough sticky to stay up there. Alright? Yeah, somebody stand there. Alright.
Okay. This one is the eye of God. And in the beginning of the story, it says that God sees evil and what he's doing, so, or what the king is doing. And so we drew an eye with evil in it, representing the evil that God has seen. And then it said that he would wipe out Jerusalem like a person wipes a plate. So we have a person wiping off Jerusalem like a plate. And then another one said that, what was it, God spoke to them but they paid no attention. So he spoke to a lot of leaders.
Go ahead.
Is it coming out of the ear?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the tingling ears. Well, what are dots all over? I'm gonna do something What is that?
Yes.
Isn't it God? No. Isn't there ear because they weren't paying attention to God and these
Yeah, like the sound waves are like,
my ears tingle.
One at a time.
like the sound waves are going like straight through the head, in the one ear, out the other. So it's
What's
like
that, the house?
he's going out.
This is that they captured that boy and they hung him by his nose and took him off.
Why?
This represented the king. He wasn't doing good.
So he died.
He fell. Well, not fell, but
And then they crowned his son the king. So the sun was rising up.
Okay. Alright. Alright. Any questions for them? Scared to ask them questions because they'll ask questions back at you. Alright? Yes, that's good. Alright. Alright. Gentlemen, you got the second part. Or put it up, put it right there on the pillar. Yeah.
Okay, so there's this guy that has a surprisingly weird Chinese name, but it's like Jehoiakim, or something, but yeah, that's what we're gonna call him. So, he's right over here, and then Nebuchadnezzar, we call him Nebi, he decided to attack him, and then he attacked his son too, and then, in the result, Nebi won, so then he took over Jerusalem, he took over Israel, but he also took over Solomon's temple, so yeah, that's a sad temple right there. He also took all the gold in it, and then, yeah, that's all the poor Israel people, and then Jerusalem was crushed.
Okay, so then Jerusalem falls, and then Ezekiel comes, and then he is like taken into exile, but he tells everyone that God is going about God's judgment, and then so they learn that like Jerusalem, you have to have faith, or it's going to be like doomed.
And the king and his son, what were they like?
They were evil. They
They
were
were-
Baals.
They were worshiping hay bales. Yeah, that's
That's
hilarious.
All right. Any questions for him? All right. Third group ladies.
Where do we put it?
What's that?
Where do we put it?
I put on that, yeah, right there.
Alright. Okay. So, hang on. Okay, so this is King Z, and this is King N. And Nebuchadnezzar got attacked King Z, and King Z was worshiping Baals, and those are evil. And then they asked if Jeremiah would help them, and he said sins have consequences, and that led to famine and plagues. And they asked if God would forgive them, and then all that happened. And then every important building in Jerusalem was burned down.
All right. Any questions for him?
Oh gosh.
Why is he called King Z?
Cause okay, Nebuchadnezzar.
Okay. So then who's King N?
Nineveh
Zedekiah.
or whatever you Nebi.
Wait, so
Yeah.
what's King Z again?
Zedekiah.
Zedekiah.
I have it on the hand. I
Oh,
can't
it's
remember.
And they also just taught that.
Abbreviations?
Okay.
Good. All right. Because I got some questions. Have a seat. Thank you. All right.
Everybody's slow.
Everybody give yourselves a round of applause. Hey! All right.
You got that.
So why did God destroy Jerusalem and have all those people got killed and all that gory stuff? Yeah.
They were worshiping them.
Okay, worshiping the Baals, right? Where were they worshiping the Baals? Yeah.
Like in the important temple from the building.
Okay, the important temple, we're talking about which temple?
Solomon.
Solomon's temple. What were they supposed to be doing in Solomon's temple?
Worshiping God.
All right. You guys put this together yet? All right. Why was, right, you guys put it up there in the evil, right?
God saw evil.
God saw evil.
and
Right.
yeah. So they were sinning.
Right. Okay. Not just sinning, you're right, it was bad enough that they were worshiping the Baals, but were they worshiping the Baals?
And
Right. Okay. All right. Let me see, what other questions do we need to ask here? How many times did Nebuchadnezzar attack Jerusalem?
Twice.
Very good. All right. In here. What about God's promises, right? We talked about the promises that God made up here. about the promise, what about the promise to Abraham, right? What were the 3 promises to Abraham? We talked about that, right? Many descendants, land, and blessing donations, all right? So how do you reconcile what's just happened here with promises made to Abraham? Did God forget about his promises?
No.
Okay, so
His third promise
hasn't come yet, okay? Or is it not come, or is it gonna come in a bigger fashion?
come to
Come in bigger
Come
fashion.
in a bigger fashion, okay? So what about the promise in here about the covenant? So one of the covenant promises, right, is that I'm gonna be your God, right? I'm the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. You'll have no other gods before me and on them. Okay. Does what happened in Jerusalem sound like that same God? Okay, so explain it to me. Because we know it is, right? So if somebody explain it to me. How do we get our heads around in here? Yeah.
They weren't a part of his plan since they were straying from his word and his promises.
So because we don't follow God all the time, we're not part of His plan?
No.
All right. Good guess. Good try.
Right.
No, just throw it out.
Better place to guess than right here.
Well, like he's doing all that stuff, but he knows that in the end, everything's going to end up good by him seeing Jesus.
Okay. That's actually really good. How were you scared of that?
Yeah. I was just like,
It's actually really good. All right. It's actually, the answer to the question is actually on the wall, by the way.
Sin has
consequences.
Sin has consequences.
Ah.
Right? Even, very good, ladies, even with God's people, sin has its consequences. Were they forgiven?
Yes.
Yeah. Right? But they had to suffer the consequences of the destruction. Right? Let's see. Take out your sheets of paper, all right? This is a work along, all right? Right, because we got here, somebody describe which group had the destruction of Jerusalem part? You guys? All right? In here, so give us a little brief here on the destruction of Jerusalem. All right? What was it like?
It was like every important building was destroyed.
Okay.
Only the poor people were left.
All the poor people left. What happened to all the men? Well, we gotta save this. We gotta save the computer here. Here, okay. You need that on. All right. What happened to all the men?
They were sent
They were what?
they were like sent out of the land.
If they were lucky, right?
Yeah.
Probably what happened to them?
They died.
Yeah. All right. What happened to all the ladies? What's that? Oh, probably not. You're probably slaves. Right?
That's worse than dying.
Yeah.
I don't make up the story. I just tell the story. All right.
That was like realization.
Right? So because you understand, right, what's going to happen here. Here in Jerusalem. All right? Put yourself in Jerusalem right here. And there's armies all around it, right?
Yeah.
And they're throwing things in, and people are dying in here, going in because of the battle in here. People are starving in here, and then they come in and finally come into the city, and they burn everything down, and they haul everybody off, right? Guys, if we're lucky, we get sent to some horrible mine someplace. Alright? I can tell you right now, Dr. Gill and I are dead. We're too old. We'd just be killed. Easier. Alright? You guys, if you're lucky, you'd probably get hauled off to work someplace. Right? What's that? If you weren't lucky, you'd get killed. Ladies, what's that?
Then I don't want to know what happens if we're lucky.
Ladies, you ladies probably are not going to be killed.
Okay.
All right. You probably end up with various aspects of a house slave of some kind. All right. And I will let the adult ladies fill that in if you want more information. There's more colorful terms that go along with that. It has multiple things, all right? That's the good side and the bad side of all this, all right? So you got a sense, right? What I want you to do right now on the back of the sheet, back of your sheets that I gave you, is with what you know, right? What we know about the promises, what you know about the rest of this story with Jesus. I want you to pretend that you have a friend in Jerusalem. All right? You with me? That is right in here. I mean, they're ones that are standing there and waiting to be hauled off to Babylon, right? You with me? I want you to write out the text message you send me. Right. What text message would you send them?
Are we supposed to be like comforted? Or are we supposed to be like, bam, this is what's gonna happen? Whatever you feel.
Whatever you feel.
You do you.
It's your text message.
You're
Not mine.
You're going off the battle.
That's right.
Off to be what you just talked about. What would you want to do?
What do you do now? Conference? We wrote text messages.
I'm a weak text.
Should have made this harder. Should have made it a Twitter post.
How many times would I be fired?
140 characters.
Tweet.
Is that the
I
most
know
you
there's
can
like a
put in?
little tweet
Yep.
button.
Twitter's 140 characters. So, what's that?
I've never gone like a
Maximum.
text message for people with like, we were watching a movie one time, and my mom was like, is there a cricket?
Twitter's 140 characters.
Wait,
Facebook I
count
think has
emojis.
200. I think Facebook now has 2,000 as their maximum.
What
What's Instagram? What's the Instagram maximum recommended?
Oh, it's like not very much.
I think that's the only time.
You can type however many you want.
You can?
Can?
Yeah,
On
the
Instagram
feed
now?
goes
It's just
all
your
the way
bio, that's like.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that's
That's what 64.
The bottom.
Because I wrote this like big long paragraph. I was gonna like direct message to one of my friends because I was very upset. So it wouldn't let me send it. It said it was too long. Ranting.
All right, everybody got it?
No.
All right, keep working. Give it a couple more minutes.
Can we draw emojis?
Sam.
If you want to draw
I put
emoji,
in
you can.
parentheses a million.
So Pam, what was the phone number of your friend in Jerusalem?
That is such a weird thing.
That's what saved my life. That's what we talked about.
Who's got mine? Who's got my foot marker?
Me. Who did it?
Thank you. Markers are gold in our office. Not sure why, but markers are gold.
I'm done.
You hang on to them. All right, I'm going to give you about 1 more minute. If you're not done,
You can get on the St. Andrew website and go. I'm pretty sure that's where Matilda got it.
Yeah, she was
You can go.
all right. This is not required, but I'm going to ask, would somebody like to read the text message that was sent? All right? Put him on the back row all night. Haley.
When I said hey, that always means it's serious. Fear not, you will be forgiven, but your sins have consequences. God loves you, he will send his son to die for you and everyone. Fear not, we can do anything that's wrong on our side. And then I draw a kissy face emoji, an angel emoji, and then it said love you.
All right? Good. Who else? Emma, you raise your hand.
OMG, try to find a way out. If you can't, just know I love you. And a parentheses like a billion emojis. And then I'm praying for you, and there's a Starbucks down the road. See you at the big Starbucks.
All right, who's next? Yeah. Run. Run.
I thought you said
Are you Dr. Who? Are you Dr. Who fan?
No.
Oh, okay.
Doctor
Who he says.
Doctor
Run. Run. Run very fast. Okay, who else?
I only know that from
Yes.
Okay.
Kinsey.
I hope you don't die because I will cry my head off. So I guess this is because these guys are like my parents when I'm in big trouble because they're taking my phone away. I miss you already. I love you, and I taught Sweden.
Hey.
I'm your emoji.
Okay. I'll pretend I understand the last one. Right. Kalani, what you got?
Okay, it says, hi, I'm sorry, make sure you believe in God, or if you die, you'll go to heaven, or you won't go to heaven. And then a face like that.
All right.
And then sorry again, and then crying face, and I miss you, and bye with a hand waving.
Okay.
And then love you.
All right. Others. Oh, I can't pick on anybody. That's for volunteers. Okay, Reese. What do you, what's the belt in the back row? All right. Sam wants to, thanks.
Okay, cool. I put, hey, you can do it. God's with you, and this is a piece of his plan. So don't lose your faith, and that God is with you, and your sins will be forgiven.
Okay, Sarah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't believe this is happening to you. I am going to miss you, but if you ever get a chance to escape without getting killed or caught, run. Get out of there now. I am on my way, and get there as fast as I can. I love you, and P.S. If you ever escape, go get me some Starbucks.
Starbucks in the back row.
I don't even like Starbucks. I
All right.
don't hot chocolate.
Grace.
Starbucks sounds like the name of
Grace is writing a novel.
Yeah.
All right, listen up to Grace's novel.
You know, like
It says,
banking
hey girl, I'm
space.
so sorry I have to go through this right now with a crying face. But for
right now you have to believe in the one and only God. I know it might be hard, and you may not want to, but God forgives. And if you put all your beliefs and trust in Him, I know He will help. It will be tough. Sins have consequences. We can do all things through He who gives us. I don't know if I got that. Through He who gives us strength.
Yep.
And He has a plan. Keep your head up. God gives His hardest battles to the strongest people. Yeah.
I have my very strong suggestion for all of you, because I'm pretty certain you are all going to be writing essays at the end of the year. The ones I heard, most of these were really good. I would stick these all in a folder someplace. So when we tell you to start at the end of the year, you're writing your essay, you've got what you've written in. A lot of these are really good. You want to hang on to these, okay? You may not use them, but it's one of those things when you start writing, you want to just yank this back out and look at it.
I'd like to say too that this isn't just meant for your friends that might be going to Babylon. Because right now where you all are in your lives, I know there's a friend at some time that's going to be going through something that could maybe hear some of the words that we heard tonight too.
Yep. All right. All right. You good?
I sent a PS text. Said PS. Love God, love others, and make it.
All right, girl. All right.
PS.
Okay.
PS.
I got one more thing for you. This is just because you enjoy. All right. In here. And if you've not signed this, do it. You're not permitted out of the room. You got to sign this to get out of the room. All right? In here. Okay. All right. So, this is a quiz for you. All right. This is. Where's my? There. All right. This is the quiz. Is you see if you know what movie this song was in.
I already know. No, I already know. Is it a monkey movie? It's from Shrek. It's from Shrek. I already know it's from Shrek.
Donkey
No, I
sings
know
at the very
because
end.
I remember.
Actually, Shrek's from this.
Shrek. Oh no. Yeah, donkey sings it.
I didn't think what title this song was.
I feel like I'm with the little. I was in Tangerine. I think I got him back into the thing, but hit the triangle. Hey, go to bonfire side. They're going to yeah. Kalani thinks they look like real monkeys. You know where those hairstyles are from, right? The Beatles. The Jonas Brothers were not alive. Jonas Brothers. Kevin had really curly 5 years ago. They were my life back then. Yeah. Right. Show us, baby. Yeah. In High School Musical. Nowadays, you hear kids talking things like, oh, doctor, whatever. Mixed up things. Doctor stuff.
You should have been that kid.
You should have a band right now. Everybody's like, there's a new topic going on in the band.
She was a.
Well, she said there was really very little direction as far as what was supposed to happen. Just the fact that there wasn't a lot. She had lived there and kind of knew what was going on, but she said that nobody knew what was going on. And that was frustrating for her. She likes to know.
Miss Janet, remember the first time you heard this?
She was great. She was just
A long time ago. You remember the first time you heard this? Remember the first time you heard this? Alright, just wait. All you ladies were, at various stages of laughing and giving funny looks. Just a cultural reference. This came out about 1966. Okay?
That came.
In
Did
here?
their hairstyles come from the Beatles?
Their hairstyles came from
hairstyle from the 60s.
In 1966, this would have been short hair. So, just.
That's short?
Yes, this was short, 66. Alright. So, hey, ladies, you guys are sitting here laughing and stuff, but just kind of a cultural thing here. When this came out in 1966, I would have guessed probably 75% of the girls your age would have married them in a heartbeat.
So like One Direction.
Yes.
They were bigger. They were bigger than One Direction.
No, they
Okay. If you haven't signed, you got to sign. We're done. Thank you. All right.